Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 451. And I hope y'all like the new graphics. All right. Thank y'all very much for tuning in to the JP8 Report. I know. Please don't say anything in the chat room or in a comment. I know my camera is crooked. I bumped it and didn't realize it. I tried to straighten it out. It's still not straight, but I'll get it fixed this afternoon. But yeah, it's been a weekend, but it's been a fun weekend. We had our dedication ceremony at our church, which was great, and then my wife and I we watched Lioness yesterday afternoon. If you're a fan of the Lioness on Paramount Plus, oh my goodness. I'm not going to spoil it because it just came out 24 hours ago, but it's good. I mean, there's several plot lines in it. It is high action, high drama, and it's really good. All right. Welcome to the JPA report. If you're not already following the channel itself, please click that little bell beside where it says the JP8 report. All right. Click that. Man, the button got smaller. Okay. So yeah, click the little bell, scroll down, click follow, and that's how you become a follower. And then also, because I would love this month to hit 200 followers. That would be great. And then click that thumbs up button right next to it for a like for the podcast. And then you can chat if you want. Not everybody chats. I got people that sleep in during the day. They're at work. Dogs barking. Go figure. I don't know if y'all heard that, but yep, there he goes again, man. And then I gotta get some soundproofing for this room. Okay, so where was I going at with that? Oh yeah, yeah. I know people watch this on demand. A lot more people watch it on demand than they do live. That's understandable. But if you're in there, you can. Okay, so that and then America 250. So I had Saturday, Sunday, and the day to cover for America 250. The two things that came out was one, General Washington, the day issued a general order against soldiers cursing. Okay, yeah, I don't curse as it is, but yeah, General Washington had to put out a general order to keep the soldiers from cursing, especially around civilians. And then yesterday, August 2nd, 1776, is okay. So you have days for the Declaration of Independence that were important, right? Okay, so you had July 2nd, where um, they formally adopted they had to vote for the Declaration, and it passed, right? And then on the 4th, they told everybody, right? And then on the 19th, it was ordered to be embossed, which was meant it needed to be put on parchment to make it formalized, right? And then you have August 2nd, 1776. This is the day 50 of the 56 uh, signatures were applied to the Declaration of Independence. Okay, so delegates signed an official handwritten engrossed on parchment ordered by Congress on July 19th, nearly a month after the text was approved on July 4th, well, July 2nd. The signers, around 50 of the eventual 56 signatures, signed the parchment on this day, starting with John Hancock, okay, and his signature was the biggest. They were committing treason by signing it, and then the last signature were applied by 1781. Matter of fact, the last one was from New York. I forgot what his name was. I should have wrote it down. But after Yorktown is when he finally signed the Declaration of Independence, when everything was already said and done with, even though they were British soldiers in New York City until they were withdrawn in 1783. Okay, after the Treaty of Paris. Hold on. Okay. Oh, okay, that was stupid. Okay, so that's your America 250. So the day of August 2nd, 1776 is when the founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence. Okay, 50 of them did. All right, so that, and then over here, the armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call or text 254-560-2023, or visit www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety is our priority. Okay, welcome back to my crooked screen. All right, you gotta laugh at it, okay? So, what's happening in the news? In Iran, new talks start today between the U.S. and Iran. Matter of fact, it's supposed to be Monday afternoon, which is Monday afternoon right now, right? Oil prices continue to tumble overnight, and I just wrote them down about 45 minutes ago. You'll see when I do the rundown on that. U.S. is ready if talks fail between the U.S. and Iran. There are divided loyalties in Iran over the talks. You have RGC and the spiritual leader. You have the parliament. You have the presidency. All parties are at odds about whether to talk to the United States or not. There was renewed fighting in Gaza over the weekend. Trump said attacks would be the biggest since World War II if the talks don't produce anything. Right? Saudi Arabia and Iran held talks by phone. That's what led to the renewed effort between Iran and U.S. in talking today. And the blockade that we reestablished has redirected 35 ships. All right. And I think disabled one. All right. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at 52,485.03. That was up 276.97. That was for Friday. It opens back up in 22 minutes. West Texas Intermediate, about an hour ago when I wrote these figures down, West Texas Intermediate was at $79.25. Brent crude oil was at $83.14 a barrel. All right, that is your Iran update. Those prices are getting low again. As long as the shooting doesn't start, they should be good. Okay, so announcements. We have on this coming Thursday, on the 6th of April, 6th of August, I'm sorry, at the Dead Fish Grill, we have Pints and Politics Belton. Starts at 6 p.m. at 2207 Lake Road in Belton, Texas. Sponsored by Elephant and Room Strategies. All right. Let's see. Next is my group, the Coppers Cove Conservative Club. We are meeting next Tuesday, August 11th at 6 p.m. in at Giovanni's in Coppers Cove. That's our local conservative group that we have here. And our guest speaker for this one will be Um, Sheriff Scott Williams, he's going to talk about drug abuse and the fighting against drugs in Coryell County. Next announcement is the Boots and Bling from the Coryell County Republican Party, which is the 22nd of August at 6 p.m. at the Texas Station Event Center, in Gatesville, Texas. The featuring band is going to be the Texas Connection, and food is going to be served from El Tapatio out of Gatesville itself. And our guest speaker is Steve Money Miniseri. I need to slow down on my speaking. And there's going to be auctions and stuff there too. Tickets are $50 a person. My wife and I already bought ours. Our next announcement is Coryell County Republican Party fundraiser. It's a Patriot Range Day at the Holly Gun Range in Gatesville. Just Google the address. It takes you right off Bald Knob Road up near Gatesville. The price is only $20 a person. The armament shop is going to be there with ammo and with some special type of weapons to fire. Also, after you get done firing, if you like the drink, you can't drink and fire. You got to fire and then drink if you want. But Curmudgeon's Honeymead is sponsoring this event with us. So if you partake, you can partake with them. That one right there. And the final event I'm going to talk about is the Coryell County Republican Party Fish Fry on the 26th of September at 6 p.m. at the Texas Station Event Center in Gatesville. That's 305 Old Fort Gates Road. Tickets are $35 a person. We're going to have a fundraiser there to an auction, silent auction. We have two guest speakers. One of them's Senator Pete Flores. He's Texas Senate District 24. And then we have Chairwoman Dorinda Randall from the Republican Party of Texas. Okay. So those are your announcements. And you may ask why oh man, another slide I need to replace. Okay, so you probably wondering why I do these announcements, because I can be talking about news of the day and stuff, because I do believe if you get engaged, you stay engaged when it comes to our Republican and conservative politics. If you don't know where you can go talk to someone, how will you ever get engaged? So that's why I put these events out for people to go see, because it helps them out in the long run. It really keeps, if you are living in a town or a city and you do not know where to go to meet fellow Republicans, maybe you need to start your own Republican club or conservative club. It's easy. And just make it a social like mine. I don't have a board of directors. We don't have bylaws. We just get together once a month and talk to each other and relate and have fun and discuss the politics of the day, and then go home and then get refreshed, because it's like, wow, I met some Republicans. Okay. And we're not butthurt Republicans either. So that in itself. All right. So let's get on to the rest of the JP8 report. What time we got here? It's 8:14. So we got 45 minutes. Dan Bongino is back today. So I'll be rating over to him at the end of the podcast today. Also, just to give you a heads up that I am scheduled on Wednesday to have jury duty up in Gatesville. It's like a 30-minute drive, more than a 30-minute drive, because I got to go on the far east side of town. So I have to call tomorrow night just to make sure if the jury duty is still a go for Wednesday, because it's at a justice of the peace that we have here. It's JP4. Most cases at a JP court are settled out of court, so maybe I'll get lucky and be able to do both podcasts. Now, if that being said, if I have the jury duty on Wednesday, I will do the JP8 report at 6 a.m. from 6 to 7, and then I'll leave and go to Gatesville. All right. We just won't do the morning brief. All right. So that is my personal monologue announcement. All right. Cool. So it is sad to say that here in this lady was a trailblazer. Okay. Matter of fact, the headline says trailblazing former Republican. Um, not a former Republican. She passed away. Her name is Kay Granger. She was 83 years old. She was my congresswoman and my mayor in Fort Worth when I was growing up. She Kay Granger, man. Um, so I'm going to read what's on here. All right, and it's really good. I'm going to end with what the speaker said in a statement yesterday afternoon. But so former Representative Kay Granger from Fort Worth died on Sunday at the age of 83, with her ex-colleagues remembering her as a trailblazer who broke barriers for women. Not because it was given to her, because she earned it. All right. She was a steadfast Republican. All right. Granger was the first woman elected mayor of Fort Worth, as well as the first Republican woman from the Lone Star State elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. She was the first female Republican Republican chair for the Appropriations Committee. You know, that committee doesn't do nothing these days. Maybe she should have stayed in Congress and worked that out, right? After serving in the U.S. After serving in the U.S. House since 1997, because she was mayor before then. Granger retired in January of last year after health challenges and extended absences from Washington. Republican lawmakers said they remember Granger as someone who broke barriers for women. Kay Granger devoted her life to serving Fort Worth, Texas community, as a teacher, as a businesswoman on the Fort Worth Zoning Commission. That was spam right there. They should know better not to call me during the podcast. Where am I at? Oh, yeah. As a teacher and a businesswoman on the Fort Worth Zoning Commission and City Council, as mayor and in Congress for nearly 3 decades, where she also served as the chairwoman of the House Appropriations Committee. Throughout her career, she broke barriers for women in public service. House Speaker Mike Johnson said in a statement, right? So Fort Worth is known for multiple things, right? You got the stockyards, right? You have the stock show, right? It's a movie event center, right? It's really cool. I mean, we just surpassed 1 million people, but 2 people known in Fort Worth politics, right? You have Jim Wright. He was a Democrat, but he was a Speaker of the House of the U.S. Congress. He was the first one from Fort Worth to be the Speaker of the House. And then you have Kay Granger. Right after he left Congress, she got elected. And matter of fact, it might have been in the same seat. Might have been, but Kay Granger was a stalwart in Republican politics. She will be missed. I solely remember her from the very beginning when I could start voting. And the first time I ever voted was in November 1986, because I was 18 years old. All right. Wow, Kay Granger gone, man. All right, how are y'all doing out there? It's 8:19. People should be kicking up, eating, drinking coffee, hot chocolate, drinking tea. So the next thing on my list is it came out this morning while y'all were all sleeping and I was up. Uh, Todd Blanche announced that he came to an agreement with uh, John Cornyn and Tom Tillis, our two Rhino senators in the U.S. Senate. One of them is my senator, um, in name only, right? But so Todd Blanche went through his about the middle of July is when he went through his confirmation hearing, and those two gentlemen blew a gasket because the president made a settlement with the IRS a couple months ago, right? And they established an anti-weaponization fund for people who got screwed over by the government. And they needed to fund it with money from a settlement from the IRS that was going to help them out, right? But we had politicians, both a whole bunch of the Democrats, maybe all the Democrats, and a few of the Republicans said, no, this ain't happening at all, not one iota. Are we going to use money to give to civilians that got screwed over royally by the government? It's not right. It should never be done, even though they passed a bill where senators can get $500,000 if their data was seized by the federal government and they didn't know about it. You know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, I believe. But so these two gentlemen made it publicly known they would not pass Todd Blanche's nomination out of the committee, the Judiciary Committee, without written assurances that the fund was terminated, even though it was never funded ever, right? So the president and Todd Blanche both publicly said it ain't going to happen. We're not going to fund it. That fund is defunct. It ain't going nowhere. And Todd Blanche and John Cornyn both put it out and said, no, we want it in writing. And the president said, it ain't going to happen. Either give me my AG or I'm going to hold off until the next Congress and get them approved. And then I'm going to push for the anti-weaponization fund formally. And this went on for several days. And it came up this morning like, look, I'll give it to you in writing. Just approve them. That's all. That's what Todd Blanche was putting out this morning. It came in right before I went on the air at 6:00 at 6:30 this morning. Right, I had to print it off, bring it back here, and put it with all my stuff. So this is from Fox News. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche moves closer to the Senate confirmation Sunday, which was yesterday, after formally rescinding a controversial $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund in narrowing tax protections included in President Trump's IRS settlement. The spokeswoman for Senator John Cornyn confirmed an agreement had been reached after Cornyn and Tillis held up Blanche's nomination. The agreement could clear the way for Cornyn to support Blanche at a Senate Judiciary Committee meeting on Tuesday. Tillis has publicly not commented on the agreement as of Sunday night. It's happening tomorrow, okay, guys? The committee is scheduled to vote on the nomination Tuesday, needing all Republicans on board to counter Democrats who remain entirely opposed to Blanche's nomination. It's not like they oppose him, they just hate Donald Trump. That is why they're all voting no. Early committee vote was postponed after Cornyn and Tillis said they need written commitment from the administration. Maybe we can get written confirmation that senators will actually do their job prior to the 1st of October. Sounds good to me. Blanche formally met with senators demanding demands by terminating the fund and clarifying that tax-related protections in the settlement apply only retroactively and do not cover future tax filings. The fund never became operational. No members were appointed. No money was transferred. No claims process was established, and no payments were made according to the Justice Department. This is all about nothing. All right, a bunch of butt-hurt Republican senators that want to thumb their nose because they got Trump derangement syndrome. My team and I have met with committee members and senators over the past several weeks and addressed any concerns or outstanding questions, Blanche posted on X. We have enjoyed good faith discussions and as a result issued a follow order update regarding the May IRS settlement. The department was always welcomes and appreciates productive engagement with all members of Congress. Blanche's formal order formally rescinded a May 18th directive establishing the fund and clarified tax-related protections. All right, so it looks like we're going to get Todd Blanche as the next Attorney General because of this, what just transpired. They just screwed the president over, but in the long run, the president got his Attorney General that he wants, right? And that's all that matters. That's all that matters at all. My objection to John Cornyn is that he's a lame duck. He's an obstructionist. And it always happens when someone gets beat in a primary, they think they have the utmost power in the world because their life is coming to an end as a public servant, right? So what I would have done would be Greg Abbott should have called him and said, "Look, dude, you got beat. You're going to be out of office in a few months. Resign, and I'll put up a new senator until the next one gets elected." I mean, unless he's so butthurt about getting beat, because the deal is the word is out on John Cornyn. John Cornyn doesn't go to. He doesn't talk about Ken Paxton. He doesn't campaign with him, and he doesn't help raise money for him. And he's always disagreeing with the president. He's actively engaging against the president. He got TDS, and he got it really, really bad. He's got to the point where he hates Trump, but he's really close to it. Tom Tillis has already jumped over the line. We all know about him. All right. Can't wait for him to leave. All right. So, yeah, John Cornyn needs to resign from the Senate. Greg Abbott needs to appoint a replacement. And in January, we'll swear in Ken Paxton. All right. Because Telefrico don't have a shot at this. My next one, what do we got here? 8:28. Well, the stock market opens up in 2 minutes. I bet it goes off the charts because of renewed talks between Iran and the United States. All right, so this is a quickie story right here because we already talked a little bit about it. But President Trump aboard Air Force One announced that new talks with Tehran will begin today after he called off a massive World War II style attack against Iran. He called it off at the last moment. My wife and I were talking maybe B-2 bombers were already in the air and they had to divert them back to Whitman, right? But appeals from several Gulf state allies, including Iran itself, led Trump to stand down. He said Saudi Arabia's MBS, that's Mohammed bin Salman, spoke privately with the president on Saturday. I was asked by Saudi Arabia, by UAE, by Qatar, and by Iran, he told reporters above Air Force One when asked why he scrapped the plan to strike Iran. We were all set to go, he said, which would have been a massive attack. I said to the Crown Prince, "What would you rather do? Would you rather us do this or not?" Trump said. Quote, "They said We would much prefer a deal as opposed to an attack because you don't know where those attacks lead. But the Saudi crown prince reassured him that Iran was ready to make a deal. They thought that a deal is imminent, Trump said, noting it would include the Strait of Hormuz and on Iran's nuclear program. Very, very important. The Trump administration has been very clear. He wants the Strait, a critical waterway for global trade and oil shipments, open to and free of tolls. They also want Tehran not to be able to access nuclear weapons. Trump was circumspect on whether the deal could be reached with the Iranians. Negotiations between the warring countries have been falling apart. Now, what I was hearing about this also, right? This is supposed to start this afternoon. Iranians are already throwing water on the deal as we speak, right? And this was the last time I heard the news was about 5:30 a.m. Central Time, which was about 2 hours ago. Trey Yinks was saying that the Iranians they want control of the strait. They want to charge tolls. This agreement that they're talking about is they said tolls won't be charged for at least 60 days. There are not going to be no tolls on this. If these group of knuckleheads think that they can ramrod something past the President of the United States, they're flat out wrong. And they're going to pay a dear price. If they stonewall the president, I think this probably be the last time that he will talk to them before total and complete defeat on the battlefield. This is inching to. They don't have the means to. There's no air superiority from the ground in Iran. We fly out will. I mean, when was the last time an aircraft got shot down? And I bet it was by accident, right? Which was months ago. We fly missions freestyle, free reign across the entire country. They can't shoot us down at all. We can drop a bomb anywhere we want inside the country of Iran. Totally. They have no strength at sea. They have no air force. Their military is being obliterated. Their command and control is decimated. And we have yet to see their supreme leader on actual video game. I come on live every single day, 5 days a week, twice a day. How hard is it? He can just show his face, speak a little Persian or Arabic, smooth out everything, right? Tell I'm in charge now. My dad is gone. No, they got him in hiding, right? I don't know if they got him in hiding from just the ROGC or a hiding from us, but he's in hiding, right? I don't I don't trust the Iranians, not one iota. I don't believe this is going to be secure, and I do believe in the end we're going to go back in and complete the mission. We're taking out the surviving Iranian government. All right, but we'll give the president the benefit of the doubt to try to make it work. At least I am, because I don't hate Trump. I voted for him 3 times. He's my president, no matter what. Right. My next deal is Susan Collins. She's the embattled senator from the state of Maine. She's running for re-election. She announced today or yesterday that the Senate leaders came to an agreement and passed or came to an agreement on a continuing resolution called a CR, right? Is because Congress can't do their job correctly because there are 12 appropriation bills that have to be passed every year before the start of the next fiscal year, which is October 1st, right? I think they only got 1 or 2 done. But the rest of the federal government is totally unfunded because they can't pass bills at all. We have Democrats that just won't say yes. So they got to pass these CRs and get it going, right? And as long as they can maintain control of the Congress, uh, next spring they can do another reconciliation bill and then fix what the Democrats screwed up anyway. All right, well, but we'll see November 3rd, right? So Senate leaders announced Sunday night they reached an agreement on a short-term spending bill to keep the government funded past midterm elections. Not October 1st, but past all the way through December 11th, right? Why? Just pass the bills. Get them done. Fully fund the government. Totally, right? But they just don't want to do stuff like this. She said, I am grateful for the work of my colleagues. This CR, continuing resolution, is a major step forward to averting a damaging shutdown that only harms vital programs and federal workers. The deal would fund federal agencies through December 11th, avoiding a shutdown during the middle of a campaign season. Campaign season's over. That's campaign election day, November 3rd. This nonsense of counting ballots for weeks on end, that's stupid. A vote in the Senate is expected before senators leave this week for a summer's break, 37 days. They get to go on an all expense paid vacation. And the House passed a similar measure, but did not include various exceptions sought by the White House. And plus, it didn't include the Save America Act, right? Which desperately needs to be added. John Thune just won't. John Thune, John Barrasso, they just won't do this, right? And then throw in the others, Cornyn, Cassidy, and Thune, not Thune, Tillis, right? Everybody wants it. Look, it's going to restrict mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, so we can get everything elected, counted early. You got to prove you're a citizen to be able to register, and you got to show photo ID to be able to vote. That's all. Why not? Why not? Let's just get it done, right? Man, my camera is too tall, too high, isn't it? We'll get it fixed. All right. What do we got here? 8:37. We're doing pretty good. Darlene Graham, Senator Graham in South Carolina, gave her first Senate campaign speech. And says that she wants to fight for the U.S. For the Trump agenda, which is more than I can say about a whole bunch of other people. People were condemning her because this is the first campaign she's ever run in her entire life, right? But, you see people in state government that's never run for office in their life. You'd figure people would start off with city council or school board and then work your way up. But I can name 3 senators right now that's never served a day in their life before they got elected to the Senate. Tim Sheehy, he's Republican up in Montana, right? Ted Cruz, right here in Texas. You have Darlene Graham, right? You have oh man, it's at the top of my head. Oh, J.D. Vance. Before he came into the Senate, he never served nowhere. President Trump, first office he ever served in was the presidency. He never served anywhere else. Over and over again, you have congressmen, congresswomen that never been elected, not even to dog catcher, right? And you'd figure they want to go to these places to get some experience, like with Robert's Rules of Order and stuff, but they just never have. So, and then the requirements for the U.S. Senate is to be a U.S. citizen and be 30 years old. That's all. That's all. You don't have to have a distinguished elected history through life because people got better things to do than serving in government sometimes. I guess they figured that it's better to put food on the table and watch the news than to run for office, right? Then you got people like, oh, I'm running, right? But so She gave her first campaign speech Saturday. Diane Graham, Darlene Graham, I'm sorry, wow, made her first campaign appearance Saturday, telling Republican voters she never expected to seek elected office but decided to run for a full U.S. Senate term after being encouraged by President Donald Trump. Her comments were made while speaking before hundreds of Republicans at a candidate forum in Lexington hosted by South Carolina Republican Party, the Republican gubernatorial nominee Alan Wilson, and River Bluff High School Lexington One Center for Law and Policy Development. Graham acknowledged her lack of political experience while arguing that her background outside government will help her tackle the issues facing South Carolina. She said she wants to continue advancing Trump's agenda in Washington after being appointed to temporarily fill the Senate seat left vacant by the death of her brother, longtime Senator Lindsey Graham. I've never had a desire to be a politician. I'm here today because I'm answering President Trump's call to serve, and I want to stand up for South Carolina, and I want to fight for President Trump's agenda. So it's her versus Fry versus Norman and a couple other people in there that are running for office, right? The filing season ended on July. It was very short. It was only 1 week. Last Tuesday, July 28th, it ended. And election day is 1 week from tomorrow for the special primary to replace Lindsey Graham, right? She is ahead in the polls right now. I know I saw some stuff on Nancy Mace's Facebook page, but they were wrong. They were totally wrong. She's just advocating for someone else and using their polling numbers from where else. I have no idea where they are. Tomorrow is primary day in 3 big states: Michigan, Kansas, and Virginia. There's primaries in those, both Republican and Democrat. Michigan is set to hold House and Senate primaries Tuesday, whose outcome could likely shape the larger battles for the November contest and tip the scales of larger battles and for both chambers depending on the outcomes. The top line race is the Democrat Senate primary, which has been Representative Haley Stevens versus Abdul Said. He's a DSA person. The winner is likely to face GOP Republican Mike Rogers, who narrowly lost the U.S. Senate race in 2024 by, I think it was 16,000 votes total, right? Polling data also suggested that the dynamic of the general Senate contest could be dramatically different depending on the candidate Democrats put forward. The primary is set to be a showdown between the establishment and progressive wings of the Democrat Party, presented by Stevens and El-Sayed, respectively. At the national level, party leaders have struggled to contain the growth of the DSA. Now they're talking about New York, in Colorado. The Michigan race is poised to have 2 different contests, depending on the winner of the Democrat primary. A recent Glengarriff poll found that Stevens would narrowly lead Rogers 45.5 to 44.7, but if Sayed is the nominee, Rogers would lead 49 to 38.7. El-Sayed has repeatedly said he is not a member of the DSA and explicitly rejected claims that he supports socialism. We got the tape. There's no other way around it. You can lie through your teeth to make yourself look softer, but you're a hardline liberal and you don't care, right? The poll could be an outlier. However, realtor politics polling averages, which do not include the Langara poll survey, currently shows either Democrat with 0.5 lead over Rogers. That's all. All right. It's 8:45. Let's see what else we got here. Polling is far more consistent, however, in the party primary, and LSAD currently averages a whopping 10.2% over Stevens. And she's going to get beat tomorrow. The Senate race isn't only Michigan's contest that could shape the larger midterm dynamics. Democrat Sherry Trandar, he is a flat out loser of a politician anyway. He tried to pardon President Trump for something, but it was ridiculous, right? He is fighting for his political survival against a more progressive challenger. Thanadar achieved national attention last year when he brought articles of impeachment against President Trump. In October, I lost it. Oh my goodness. Oh, in October of that year, he renounced his membership in the DSA after the group organized a pro-Palestine rally. Thanadar represents 13th congressional district, in which includes sections of Detroit, and he faces Donovan McKinney in the Democrat primary. McKinney is backing of the DSA, and I believe Thanadar is going to get beat. All right. Man, I keep losing this. Okay, go back. All right. So get out and vote. If you're Republican, go vote. Vote Republican. Vote Republican. All right. Get a friend. Bring them. Go vote Republican. We cannot allow these Democrats and these communists to take control of our country. And the only way you're going to do that is get off your fourth point of contacts or off your laurels or off your behind and get out there and vote. All right. Same thing here in Texas. Like I was talking about John Cornyn. John Cornyn doesn't even want to campaign for Ken Paxton because he's so hurt that he got beat in the primary. Everybody gets beat. I've gotten beat before. I got beat in my re-election bid for council and for the school board. For the college school board. It didn't hurt me. You know what? I put my boots on and I got out stepping. That's what happens. All right. 8:47. Next. We'll cover that second. Hold on. We got 12 minutes left. Please, if you're watching and you're not already a follower of the JP8 report, please click the bell and scroll down, click the follow button, and give us a like on the thumbs up button, please. Okay. So, Anthony Fauci. Did y'all hear last night that he gave death rates from COVID privately that were a whole lot lower than what he said publicly? It's like they were trying to scare us to death. Anthony Fauci privately believed that the death rate from COVID-19 was much lower than he told Congress just 1 month after that. According to a report kept by the health official in February 2020, the diary entry was made public by Senator Rand Paul, chairman of the Senate Committee on Homeland Security, prior to Fauci's testimony earlier last week. During his appearance, Fauci refused to answer any questions and gave the Fifth Amendment 111 times. During his time as the leading government official during the COVID-19 pandemic, Fauci kept the meticulous recordings of his meetings, phone calls, and other day-to-day activities. Fauci faced a scrutiny from Republicans for years in his role in the early response to COVID-19. On March 11, 2020, as the coronavirus spread, beyond China to Europe and to the United States. Fauci told the House Oversight Committee that the estimated COVID fatality rate was at 3% and told lawmakers it was much more deadlier than the seasonal flu. The stated mortality over all this is when you look at the data. Oh man, one of my buddies is calling. Where I'm at. Oh yeah, including that China is about 3%. He started off as 2 or 3%. I think if you count all the cases minimally symptomatic or asymptomatic infection, what probably brings the mortality rate down to somewhere like 1%. There's a lot difference between 3% and 1%. All right. That's a whole lot difference in the number of people. And that means, um, but it even goes more. But in a diary entry just 3 weeks before his testimony on Capitol Hill, Fauci memorialized a phone call with former senators of the CDC and Prevention Director Tom Frieden, in which both agreed the real case fatality rate was like 0.2 to 0.3%. So we went from 3%, like they were telling everybody, down to 0.2 to 0.3% privately, and kept that a secret from everybody else until everybody got a hold of the diary itself. They lived a lie. They scared the living daylights out of Americans, right? And President Biden gave him a pardon for all of it. Man. All right. And then we have RFK Jr. He bashed Dana Bash on State of the Union on CNN yesterday. They had a 20-minute knockdown, drag out argument on air about vaccination. All right. Man, I'm so thirsty. I just watched the video on Vince this morning before I came out here, and literally they were arguing, doing all this finger pointing and stuff like that. But HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy accused CNN anchor Dana Bash of COVID-era media malpractice Sunday, saying she failed to challenge public health authorities and help marginalized dissenters during the pandemic. You were part of the problem. You were absolute press malpractice. Your job is a fierce. And see, it's different when you're hearing it in person than reading it on paper. All right, that was my thing when I was talking to the county judge here. He said, "Well, we do a transcript and put the transcript out, but unless you're hearing the inflection in the voice, you really don't know what's going on with the argument." You were beating up people who were dissenting, Kennedy said. Kennedy leveled the attack on Bash, asked how HHS could prepare for another pandemic, and tried to move him away from relitigating the prior federal response. Bash pushed back, saying she was trying to ask how Kennedy would prevent another public health crisis. And I don't want to use this interview to allow you to say things that are evidently true, Bash said. You're talking about therapeutics, fine. It is also factually true that the COVID vaccine worked. If it worked, why did I got it 3 times? It doesn't work. It softens the symptoms. It doesn't cure. The COVID vaccine prevented deaths. There's data upon data upon data. CDC and Harvard researchers estimated in 2023 that prior vaccination could have prevented at least 232,000 deaths among unvaccinated adults. After Bash acknowledged, see what they're not saying in that is that were those if they did they die and have COVID or did COVID cause their death? That's the distinction. It needs to be separated from the whole argument, right? If you have COVID and you get in an automobile accident and you die, are you a COVID casualty or are you an automobile accident casualty? I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. But yeah, they went on over and over and over again about this yesterday on Meet the Press. State of the Union, I'm sorry. Different. That is completely different. President Trump is, oh man, I wish I could get this. There's no way I can cover this in 5 minutes. Yeah. So President Trump is leading the way to restore um, accountability and of all of our armed systems inside the military. What we're doing in the last 4 years before the president became president again was that Biden was giving all these arms to the Ukraine to fight against the Russians, but they were not replacing them fast enough in our own factories. We it takes approximately a week, I think it is, a day or a week to do a Tomahawk missile. But you can fire a whole barrage of Tomahawk missiles from a battery. Each pack of Patriots holds 4 missiles. You can fire all 4 of them, and what it takes 4 days to replace that one, and you just fired it in 5 seconds, and then the battery right next to you does the same thing, and the one next, you're all out of rounds, right? And it's taking them each day making 1 missile. It needs to be sped up, and he's making it work, and he's restricting defense contractors from using any rare earth minerals from overseas. We have to use the ones we have in our country, right? Um, hold on just a second here. I'm running out of time. Hold on, I'll finish this up real quick. All right, I'm done. All right, so July 20th, President Trump signed an important executive order, which was 2 weeks ago, designed to ensure U.S. defense contractors no longer buy critical minerals from China. This is just the latest in a series of administration moves to enhance the security of our most critical supply chains. The Pentagon has been leading the way with a sharpened focus on increasing production across the nation's defense related industrial base. Simply based, we cannot allow China to control any material vital to our war fighting capabilities. Supply chain vetting is entirely consistent with the administration's strategy on U.S. economic growth, which would relies on renewed push to onshore manufacturing rather than to rely on imports from unregulated, unreliable suppliers. That's good for U.S. labor force and great for our national security. The great news is we don't need to do it all ourselves. We would never hesitate to partner, especially with our G7 allies and other close partners, as long as production takes place on U.S. soil. All right? He's helping. We're going to rebuild our military, and it's better to have too much ammunition than to run out. I know that for a fact. All right? Hey, I'm going to initiate the. I got to fix this camera. It looks like it's sinking on me. All right. I will see y'all tomorrow morning at 6:30 Central with the morning brief. I'm going to initiate the raid to Dan Bongino. I'm glad he's back. There we go. It's almost 9 o'clock. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. I hope y'all like the new graphics. But I will be back tomorrow morning. We got 9 seconds, so Dan Bongino starts up. Y'all have a great day. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I will catch you on the flip side. I'm out.